afternoon. Welcome to the Table for Queens. This week we have some ladies missing, but we are ready and we are live. Thank you guys for logging on. And this week we are talking about One House Over. Well, I'm sorry. We are recapping from One House Over, and we are discussing the next chapter of the book, Over the Fence. This is the neighbor series. We are talking about neighbors that become friends, and we're wondering, will they soon become enemies? Would anyone like to do a recap of the first 5 chapters of Over the Fence?
That's Over the Fence.
That's book 2.
Not the read.
I think we're having a lot of technical.
Yes, and we apologize, you guys. We are having technical difficulties this week, so we do apologize.
I am having some technical difficulties, but just to recap, I read the first 5 chapters of Over the Fence, the second series, the second book of the Neighbor series, and it talks about the characters. Talks about
Yvonne.
the new characters. Yvonne and what's her
Milton.
Yvonne
and Milton.
And Milton. Yvonne and Milton. It's been a while, y'all. Yvonne and Milton. And what I see with them is Yvonne and Milton are two of the same. Both are ex-cons.
As she was saying, with Yvonne and Milton, both of them were ex-convicts, and they end up meeting. Yvonne met Milton when she was released from jail, and she ended up meeting Odell. I think, was they out eating or at a restaurant? How did she end up meeting Odell? But when she met him, when he first saw her, he took an interest in her. Because of course she was, according to the book, she was fair-skinned, or what is it, red bone? He thought that she was very, very beautiful, and he was interested in getting to know her. Well, of course, he didn't know. He found out later that she was ending a relationship with a gentleman that she had, I guess she was involved with before she went to jail, and still involved with after she was released, until she found out that he was cheating on her with her best friend, which stayed next door. So that to Yvonne and Milton starting a relationship. Doris? Is she? She said, okay, go on, Coretta.
Okay. And forgive us, guys, having technical difficulties at the moment, but we're still trying to make sure we get the message out to you. And as Donna was saying, this book is pretty much follows up on part 1 of the Neighbor series. But the good part about this book, we got a recap of actually how the 2 lovers met. Remember, in part 1, Odell and Joyce were becoming friends with Milton and Yvonne. So now we understand the characters of Yvonne and Milton. Chapters 1 through 5 basically gave us a recap of how they met, how they fell in love, and also showed us the strong attraction that Milton had to Yvonne. And back in those times, he was saying he thought she was one of the house women that worked in the houses of the Caucasians, but in actuality, she was a criminal. And he later comes out she was a thief, just like him. Last week, we posed the question on the Table for Queens page. We were asking, why do people make excuses in relationships even when their significant other is in the wrong? We got a lot of different feedbacks on why people think they did. Often we see women covering for men, but in this book, it was a twist. We saw the man covering for the woman, regardless of whatever wrong Yvonne did. Milton covered for her because he was at all with her. And we are also learning how they got to be in a predominantly better neighborhood than where they was from, because both of them came from rough backgrounds. Both of them their parents died at a young age. They were survival of the fittest. Both of them served time in prison for pretty much the same thing, theft. So, Ms. Donna, if you had to give anyone any advice, do you think it's great having a relationship with someone that is just like you, or do you think you need someone that's different from you?
I guess it just depends on what the individual is looking for. Sometimes when we have someone just like us, then we're more comfortable with that person. We feel as if we're compatible with that person because we have the same interests. We've been through some of the same things. We can relate to each other a lot better. You know, I'm comfortable with that person, and I can share things with that individual because he or she will understand, you know, what I'm going through because they've gone through the same thing. But then if you look at it another way, you'll say, well, you want someone to make you better than what you are. So your goal is to always, you know, find ways that you become a better person, that you can see things in a different light, that you can grow and mature into a better person. So sometimes it just depends on what that individual is looking for. If you just want to stay complacent and stay where you are, then you continue to be with someone just like you. A goal or a dream to obtain anything or do anything better, or you want someone that can help you become that better person that you would like to be. So it's just, I think it's just opinions on what that person is looking for.
Kim, do you think it's better to find someone that's different from you or someone that's similar to you?
It depends what you're looking for. Like that, I used to think I want somebody just like me, and then I realized that I don't think that's true. So I think it just depends on what you like. It's entertaining.
I think I got a lot of different comments, and one guy, pretty much his comment was saying he felt it was sexual. Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
Is it sexual if you stay with someone just like you, or was it sexual? I mean, what was the exact question? What was he saying?
People get in relationships and they know their other counterpart is wrong about a lot of things and they still cover for them. He feels is because they're dominated by sex. Like if you're in a relationship, say for instance, you get married and your husband is a thief, and every time they come looking for him, you make excuses for him of why he steals. He felt like people make excuses and cover for others in their relationship. It's not because of love, it's sexual.
What does that sexual have to do?
I don't know. That was honestly his comment. He felt it was sexual.
And okay, is it sexual that you're going to go along with the person? And right now, you're attracted to the person right. Sexually, so you're going to go along with what they say and what they do, and you're going to cover up for them until you no longer have a interest in them, sexual wise, and then you go on to the next person, or I'm not sure.
He didn't elaborate. The question was posed like, it started saying, why do women take up for others when they know they don't have their responsibilities? Or I can't remember the full question, but his biggest thing was the question was pretty much saying, why do we cover for people in relationships even when they're wrong and we know that they do not do right? And it's because of the strong sexual desire. It seems to me, now I don't want to too much, I would say it was pretty much something like Samson and Delilah. You know, Delilah got in Samson's heart through sexual relations, and every time they had sex, it was pillow talk. She talked to him, got a lot of things out of him. So I am assuming he meant like sometimes people love someone because of the strong sexual desires and the connection.
I mean, I could understand why he said that, because sometimes people are with people for sexual attraction or, you know, sexual pleasure. And I'm so blinded by, you know, the physical attraction or the lust or whatever it is that can't nobody tell me nothing about you. And if they do tell me something, I'm going to uphold it. So, I mean, I can understand why he said that, but I don't think there's no one reason as to why people uphold people when they know they're wrong. So yeah, I can understand why.
But Have y'all noticed something about all these books that we have read, even with the relationships? When we do end up finding the good relationships in the books, notice we have read a lot of books, and a lot of them have been spiritual books. And it takes you back to that thing of like, if you have a strong relationship with God, then you know your self-worth. You know you don't have to settle because he's going to give you something more. But have you noticed it's a pattern in each one of these books in those relationships? Self-esteem issues.
Mhm.
A lot
But
of it.
even still with the religious, even still with those religious books, even if your faith, some people they have faith in God but they still, separate themselves, and because that don't stop them from being hurt, that don't stop them from being mad or angry or doing other.
Okay, guys, she's still having difficulties, but to finish what she was saying is like, even when you are strong in your faith, and I'm assuming this, you still have that point where you do get mad or angry. We're still human. And the Bible does tell us no one is perfect, none but him. I think often we do have those emotions.
If I go out one more time, I ain't coming back. But this is just frustrating. I don't know why. It's never just been blanked out like this before. So I don't know what's going on. I'm nothing but one thing hooked up onto my Wi-Fi, and that's this, my iPad. So I don't know what's the problem.
It's
Maybe
probably
the
not.
changing of the weather. I don't know.
I would say, sometimes when other parts have bad weather, when they use those different channels for the internet, it will mess up the internet. The connection won't be as strong.
And the satellite in the sky, how it's turning or whatever. I don't know. But every time I get into a conversation, the thing blank out. So I guess they want to hear they don't want to hear me tell the truth, because I'm probably setting somebody free. And what the script said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So I'm trying to free somebody, and they don't want them to be free. But like that other question, in a relationship, I wouldn't want anybody just like me. Mm-mm. Because if you just like me, then I don't need nobody, because I got it. I'm that person, so I don't need a mirror image of me, because I know about me. So I need somebody that's maybe a little stronger than me, or even with me. I don't need nobody to be just like me and have the same habits I have. We'll never do nothing. We'll never be nothing. We'll be stuck in the muck. We'll never go forward. We'll never go backward. We just stand still, and time will pass us by. So now if I need somebody that's different, because their differences could help me or aid me in my whatever flaws I might have, and vice versa. So I need somebody that's different, but yet we share some of the same things, like some of the enjoyments. But I don't want nobody that be exact like a twin to me, same exact thing.
But even though with the lesser of two evils, Milton and Yvonne did prosper, even though they didn't get it the right way, because they had goals and ambitions, but they didn't get anything the right way. And I do it was spoke on our page, the Table for the Queen page, saying when you get things the wrong way, sometimes God will bless you with things just for to see if you're gonna do right by it. That way that fall will be a little bit harder, so everything that you took for granted and got the wrong. Because notice they didn't have, Yvonne did express remorse for some of the things that she did, but Milton told her, no, you're not supposed to feel like that if you steal or take something. You're not supposed to have those feelings. And that made her feel even more special, because she felt like he loved me, because he don't see he takes care of me.
Maybe, with Milton and Yvonne, that was what they saw when they grew up. That's what they saw, the behavior that they saw, maybe the relationships that they were familiar with. And this is how people respond, and this is how they act in relationships. Everybody's on the same level, everybody's doing the same thing, we're covering each other in our wrong. So who knows how a relationship's supposed to be, or how you're supposed to be there to uplift and support that person, and then tell them when they are wrong and help them make right decisions. So I wonder if they were just doing what they were accustomed to seeing, what
Well,
they grew up seeing.
But
I may be a little further in the book,
sometimes
but Yvonne actually, she actually touched that subject. I'm not gonna say what she said, but to answer that question, that was not her case.
Later on, she changed. But looked like she started, it started out that way. But as for anything, as in a relationship, as you go and into the relationship, as years go by and stuff, then your way of thinking, your way of acting, everything do change. Nothing stays the same. You may start out this way, immature, negative thinking, but as time go on, your maturity, you grew in maturity, your level of thinking became different, and what you thought was good then is really bad. It's something you don't want to have nothing to do with. And a lot of times people take up doing it, maybe the beginning of a relationship. Yeah, you probably would take up for that person and they wrong and everything. And reason being, you probably say it's none of your business what's going on in this house. So if you're gonna find out, you ain't finding out by me, like that. And that may be a reason why, you don't squeal or snitch or stuff on a person, even though they doing everything. You coming up, they stealing, they gambling, whatever they doing.
Maybe because it's
But
beneficial to you. You're reaping a benefit from it. So you're not saying anything until you, like you say, you begin to grow and develop. You have a different mindset, and then you decide, what we were doing back then, we're beyond that by now. At this point, we should be at another level, another way of obtaining things.
Touch on that, because sometimes what we think is love and acceptance is not. Some people love us even in our wrong because it's beneficial. But when it gets to a point when you grow and mature, you realize that's not what you want. And some people run from people that are different from them and challenge them, because now we feel like, if you love me, well, you're supposed to accept me. Even if, some people like that. They accept you as long as you complain. But when you put your foot down, they quicker to run, because they realize, well, now you don't really love me if you don't accept my BS. And I think in this era, we actually think that's love. If you love a person, well, you're supposed to love them regardless how they is. And even if, and the Bible does tell us love our neighbors, love ourselves, but the Bible ain't never told us to be a fool for nobody and standing there wrong. But I think people get that twisted. It's a pastor, I think Creflo Dollar was speaking, and he spoke a powerful sermon about marriage and relationships. And he was talking about how him and his wife argued on they honeymoon, and how he was ready to give up. And he realized, like, if I give up on her because she challenged me, that means I'm going to always give up on something and look for somebody else that's going to accept me even when I'm wrong. And one speak on that, and he was like, when people have similar things, they feel like, well, we can make this work. Our goals and ambitions tie in together until it's not beneficial anymore. Powerful statement, Donna, because One Beer did speak on that. They did. And I agree with what Dora was saying earlier. I don't think you need to get someone that's totally like you, because how can you grow from that? You probably can acquire things, but how can you truly grow from that as a person?
Well, I would say depending on what type of people y'all are, because if y'all two ambitious people, and as a person by myself, I'm the type of person who is a go-getter. I'm in the church. I get somebody who match me. We can grow. We're just alike, but we also growing together, so we still can reach heights. You don't necessarily have to challenge each other, because if I already have those things inside of me, we still can grow. So that don't mean we're gonna stay stagnant. That's not necessarily true, because that means you stay stagnant. Because without that person, were you not gonna grow anyway?
But make sure your growth don't turn into competition. See, your growth can either, if he ambitious, if you ambitious, both y'all growth can turn into competition.
Kim and Kanye,
he competing against you, you competing against.
It could turn into competition, but that don't.
Kim and Kanye West
is going to turn into competition.
And then sometimes your ambition,
I
you
can't,
trying hard.
see ambitious.
And sometimes a person
I can't see
ambition.
it too ambitious.
Go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, sometimes too
And then go,
Oh.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think we're able to hear each other because of the problems we're having. I don't think we're able to
Like
the other
because
person.
it sounds right. It sounds like the next person that stops speaking and they actually don't.
Right.
So we're sorry.
Well, I'm gonna be quiet.
I think with the ambitious part of it, one person can be that you start off just alike, with the same beliefs, the same goals, just doing the same thing, being complacent with where you are. Then one decides to grow and mature, and their outlook on life and what they want becomes different. So then what if one person becomes jealous of the other because one is trying to be better, do better, when the other one is saying, where we are is good enough. So do relationships, can that happen in a relationship where one of the parties in the relationship decides their way of thinking changes, they want to do better things, explore things, and become a better person and obtain more, and just change from the ways of the things that they used to do when you all first met, where the other party then becomes, I guess, can one party become jealous of the other one?
It's possible. I think it's possible.
And you actually see that in relationships. I think it goes back to that question we had when we first started, the difference between a conditional love and unconditional love. Because when you love someone unconditionally, as long as they're not to a point where they're abusing you, are doing wrong things, you can reflect and be like, well, I am willing to change and mature in this department because this is pushing us away from each other. But when you're doing bad things, you have to be strong enough to walk away, because you don't want to. Because after me, I don't care what you do. When you wrong, you wrong. God gonna whip you at one point, and you don't want to be a person trying to stand in the gap for him, and then he whip you too. So it has come to a point, is the realization of, is this an unconditional love or conditional love? And to the point of, how is this benefiting me? Is it benefiting for the good or the bad? Because just because we can make money together and we can gain things together, still don't make it a good relationship, and it still don't make what we're doing right. Because
So what
Milton
Yvonne
was perfect example.
So Yvonne, what Yvonne and Yvonne and Milton doing, is it right? I mean, what they start off doing, how Yvonne got back at that girl, all those evil things she did. And then and then she stole the man's money. And then Milton knew she had stole that man's money and wouldn't give it back to him. And they beat him up and all of that kind of stuff. And, I don't know what kind of, is that love or was that protection or what?
Well,
was
that was she did that out of hurt. That was full of emotion. That was revenge because, that was supposed to be her best friend. So she wasn't thinking that her best friend, was sleeping with her significant other. So she was upset. So she was getting both of them back to what they had done.
Well, she didn't like that man no way.
Yeah, she may not have liked him as much as she could have, but she liked him enough to stay with him and let him take care of her, because that was the only.
She had nowhere to go, because when she first went to prison,
she didn't have any place to go.
That house,
but still,
that house, and then when they let her out, that's the only place she could go back to, because he didn't even know she was coming home, or
she got released early. She got released early. So when he was coming to see her when she was in jail, so she thought that she had a relationship. She knew that when she was getting out, she was gonna go be with him. She just got out early, and he didn't know she was getting out early, and she made it to the house, and stayed there. But she still didn't expect her friend to be messing with him.
Right, and then, like she said, when she got out of jail, he wasn't taking care of her. I'm working in the fields, in these hard fields, and I'm helping you going half on everything. he was wrong. Now it don't justify everything that she did, stealing his money or whatever, but he had no business coming to another man's house either. Because you wouldn't want that man come to your house. He knew what she worked at. He could have confronted her at coming home.
But
So
I
neither
mean,
one.
too wrong don't make it right, because he wasn't right for what he did, and she wasn't right for what she did. You know,
Neither
how
one
much
was.
revenge you gonna get?
I don't know how many. I think that was all she did.
One time after she stole his money, she didn't go back. She didn't even say
She
anything else
didn't do
to him. She
anything after
basically
that.
nope. She didn't even
Well, she
mention
knew
his name in public.
she knew he was coming at her for that money, and then she lied. I ain't get nothing. She knew she had
Well,
stole
that
that
was still
man
out
money.
of a. That was still out of a place of hurt,
Yeah.
rejection.
And then he didn't show any remorse from what he did, so what he laughed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she still shouldn't have stole that man money. Ain't no way to
No,
justify
don't
it.
make it right. But what she's saying is you can, let's be honest, we can understand why she did it. It doesn't make it right, and we're not justifying it because she was wrong. She shouldn't have stole his money, especially something he worked hard for and put to the side. But I guess her, and I'm assuming, was you used me and took advantage of me because I'm pretty much moving in with you just to help you pay rent, and you and Katie could have moved in together. Why would you play me like this? And she did have somewhere else to go. She chose not to because she said she didn't want to go to Katie's house and sleep on the floor, and she didn't want to go back to her aunt's and her uncle's house. And come to find out, she didn't want to go back because she had children there that didn't call her mom. She gave her right to them. So she had somewhere else to go, but she took her easiest option. And like most of us do an option, we go to the place we feel is easier at, because he was taking care of her before jail and he was not making her pay any bills. But once come to find out, I started messing around with your best friend, now making you pay bills. So that's probably his justification to Katie why her being here, because she helping me pay bills.
He wasn't just start messing with the best friend. He probably met the best friend while she was in jail or whatever. I mean, she ain't blind.
Sure.
How that man treated her, she knew. He knew all along. Shit, that man wasn't. Excuse me. She knew all along that man wasn't thinking about her. And,
Wait a minute, he wasn't acting like that at first. He wasn't acting like that.
Right.
Now, I guess he had no reason to act that way because she was locked up. But when she made it there, he changed.
Well, she said before they went to jail, the relationship was good.
Yeah. So she had no reason to
He changed once he started cheating on it, and like they changed.
Yeah.
He didn't change. I mean, he was what he was. He may have camouflaged it a little, but he was who he was, and she knew who he was.
Or he wasn't messing with a friend at the time. He might have started messing with her. Well,
he probably was messing with the friend. And I don't think there was no all of a sudden thing that girl, he all of a sudden, she said she ain't leave him a note. She ain't coming home till after 12. And that lady over there. No, that ain't.
Well, you know, that lady, according to Yvonne, her friend had men coming in and out. So he probably just messed with her, one time and didn't think nothing of it. And she continued to, they were just next door to each other. It was just easy access.
She said her friend had men coming in and out. But see, Yvonne just wasn't at the time when she saw her man coming in and out.
He didn't have to go in and out. She just went to his house. He didn't have to go over there.
He had to make, but that wasn't her first time with him. I believe he started messing with her. That was Yvonne's first time catching him.
All right. So
she said she believes she believed it started when they went to jail, because before she went to jail, she was talking about how he'd take on picnics, he'd take her ride, and he did a lot of things for her, and he let her have her way. Once she got out of jail, that's when she noticed he had got a little mean toward her, but she probably thought it was because or how she stated it, because before he went to jail, she didn't have any rules. So she just felt like, well, he trying to settle down and marry me now, so that's why he a little stricter. Her friend was wrong. You can't sum that up. And I feel as women, Yeah, everybody was wrong. And that was what you were trying to show. All of them was wrong because none of them had good characters. All of them was wrong. They were wrong. And I
That's
think
why you can't tell your friend how good, you cannot tell your friend how good your significant other is and what he's doing for you.
What
They coming on in there,
but he ain't your friend.
wanting some of your
She ain't your
benefits,
friend.
getting some of the
And you
reaping
shouldn't
some
be
of
doing
those
that kind
benefits.
and you shouldn't be you shouldn't be doing that kind of talk anyway.
Mhm.
You know, you keep everything, like I said, keep your business to yourself.
Can't
Keep your
tell
business to
everything.
yourself. Keep your eyes open. That's just some advice for the young women.
Yeah.
especially in this generation, because everybody ain't your friend. And I know as women, it's still a thing like we should have loyalty toward each other because we are women and we should respect each other more. But some women are selfless. We all out for self about what we can get and what we can gain. And ladies, I'm not letting men off the hook because men are like that too. You find men acting more like women these days. They gossip more. They talk about women more, and the women join in with them until the tables are turned. I
But
think
wait a minute. Let me ask you something. Who started that saying that women gossip more? Who started that? We don't even know if that's to be true. You know,
true.
men, they got barbershop talk. They talk. They do more talking than women ever would do. But it's somehow or another, everything has been put on the women like we were the first to do that. You fight like a girl, you talk like a girl, you gossip like a girl, you do everything like a girl. I mean, come on. You can't tell it the difference these days. And this generation ain't doing no more than the generation before. Because the generation before us and the generation before that, ain't nothing new under the sun. All this stuff is the same thing. And people reacting and acting the same way they did, how they settled things back there. We trying to settle things the same way now. So everything, I mean, in this relationship thing, people been trying to get a grip on it and talk about how relationships should go and all that kind of stuff. But if somebody can discover how relationships should go, they'll be rich, millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. But I think relationships go the way that two people agree. If you agree that this is how this gonna go, and we on the outside looking, and it looks strange to us, it don't make the relationship bad. It's just something that we wouldn't do or we not used to. But if that household have whatever relationship they have in their household, then that's what relationship, then that's a good relationship for them. Ain't no certain way or no blueprint on how a relationship is a good relationship, a bad relationship, what you supposed to give, what you supposed to take. It ain't none of that. People just trying to, they make up and do what they feel in their heart, what it should look like or what it should be like. But I mean, a lot of marriages, they have these, what you call these switch, where they switch partners, what they do this and do that. To me, that is, oh, I wouldn't do that. I call them in it. You know, I'll say negative things about that because that's what I don't do. But if that works for them, then it worked for them. That's their relationship. You know, I can't say it's bad. I can't say it's good. I just say if it worked for them, if it float they boat, then sail on.
I totally agree. To each his own.
I don't know. I guess I started with
Yeah, you do what's best for you. What's best for you and your partner. That's what, hey, what y'all do together is what you all do together. And it's nobody's business. However y'all do it.
I agree. I to a certain extent, but where I disagree at is because relationships are not private anymore. And I think if you keep it private, it's between you, then it is your business. But when you put it out there for the world to see, you make it the world business. Or if you put it out there for your children to see, you make it the world business, because your children they have to go out in society and they do what they see at home. It starts at home first. And I think as you said, whatever a person does in the privacy of their own home, it is their business. But until it starts to affect the community and others around them, that's when it is. And notice what she said, the neighbor series. Their relationship was not their own because it was affecting everybody else. It was a domino effect. And I think we get to this point in society, we all find things to argue about. It's always Republicans against Democrats. It's always Black against white. And then it's come to a relationship scenario. The Bible always says, be fruitful and multiply. Everybody think that saying means in the Bible, oh, to have more children. No, it don't. It means bring people to the storehouse. So I think if we standing as Christians in general, our relationships are supposed to be, it's supposed, where marriages are supposed to be a blessing to God because that's what he ordained. That's what he said for men and women. But I think whatever you do in the privacy of your home is your business until it starts to affect people publicly and it affects your children. But if it's one of those relationships, you don't have kids and you keep your business in the privacy of your own home, you go out in public and function as you should, then yes, do you by all means. Do you, love you, be you, because it's not affecting anybody until it does. So that's how I feel about that part. Because if it affects everybody else, then it's no longer your relationship because you put it out there for the world to see and you damage your kids and your kids come to school damaged and that administrators and everybody else in your business because you didn't handle your business right in the first place.
And that's just like the Currys, Steph Curry, and you see his parents at the ball game, and we have on one son's shirt and they hand against the other son's shirt, and all the family together and this and this and this, and they just love. Then you hear the big headline: the Currys are divorcing. Each one of them is accusing the other of cheating and all that kind of stuff. And you wonder, okay, but that's why I say and close door. You walk in the house, they hold hands, they take all kind of pictures, they dub it, they kiss and stuff. But when they leave you and walk in their house, one go right, the other go left. Until it's time to come out again, and then they join up and put in. That's why some things be such a shocker, because and I'm sure it hurt the Currys more than anybody because they had to pretend for the public because their children were household names, and they had to pretend for the public something that wasn't even true, that wasn't even real, until they just got tired of, And my thing is, you be you. But sometimes I find out, I say to myself, nothing is new under the sun, and I shouldn't be shocked when I hear about stuff. Sometimes I be startled, and everything, but I try not to find myself so blown away that I just can't believe it.
That's true. And we put too much stuff out publicly, too much. I understand they going to their sons and stuff game, but even when they was getting divorces, like nothing is new up under the sun, but how they handle things is new. I know back in the day they did stuff and it was public, but now everything is so public because it's all across the internet. I remember somebody shared a person that was saying, and it was a guy saying, he was like, no, y'all talking about y'all kids, but he was like, no, my kids don't know who Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B is. And I guess he was basically saying it's like, no, you saying ain't nothing new, but you let your kids see what you want to see. You let them hear and do what they want to do. Everybody not the same, because mine's not finna listen to that or do that. And man, there's no such thing as a perfect parent because we can't protect our kids from a lot. But what we produce, that's what we put out here in society. And I mean, Steph Curry has a good reputation. You will always see him and his wife doing great things in the community and trying to give back. So I can only imagine the pressure that their parents was under trying to fake that role, because I don't want to bring shame to my kids.
But so then, I'm pretty sure the kids knew. Don't think the kids didn't know that tension was going on. It was just a matter of time because everybody got to go to the courthouse and fill out those papers. So once you fill out those papers, that's public record. So hey, they probably went on and said it before they even had to fill out the papers because it was coming out and it was gonna come out anyway. It was gonna come out anyway.
True. But it comes to a point, it's like, do you owe the world an explanation if it's gonna come out?
No, you don't.
Oh, nobody, nothing.
Yeah, it's,
You don't. And it didn't even
it's
have
the
to come
hardest.
out. I mean, it could have been, they could have gotten divorced, could have been a silent, a quiet thing. They divided whatever they were gonna, split down the middle, separate quietly. It didn't have to come out. If we would have found out, it would have been, months, years later that they were actually divorced, because they could have still come out in public, beside each other at the games, cheered their boys on, and went on with life. But somebody wanted it to come out before the other did, to kind of make themselves look like the better person than the other person. So it didn't have to come.
It didn't, because they still could have went to the game out in the same seats and supported their children. They didn't have to
And
miss
they
their
probably
home.
still.
Somebody wanted to feel as if they were the victim and let the public
And
be on their side and support them against the other person. That was that. Somebody was real angry. Petty.
Well, news pays. And these media companies, these journalists and everything, they trying to get the big breaking story, because that's how they get promoted. That's how they get paid. So they out there looking for gossip. They paying people to give me the scoop and everything.
Yeah, but one of them gave the scoop. One of them gave the scoop. One of them did that. It wasn't nobody snooping around, looking in their window, parked out in front of the end of their driveway. One of them did that.
And then even when the news media came, found it, you didn't have to give a response. You see a lot of celebrities will not give, they'll tell you my personal life is private. You found a lot of them with a private personal life, and I don't care how the news media come at them, they don't give a statement. These days, we have to, like you said, we got to show our happiness in the public view, because we feel people gonna find out anyway. Even if they find out, you have other people to vent to that you can trust, versus talking to the news media, because like you said, you only doing it for money. Everybody's trying to get the top story. But certain things, like I said, that's why relationships are a big issue and a big topic, because we make it so public now. Everything is public. Even if we're not celebrities, we got to make it public, because we're trying to prove something to somebody else. It's not about us, because our happiness cannot be with the world to see. And if we don't want the world judging our relationship, we don't have to put it out there. That's a choice. That's a choice.
That's a choice.
That's and that's the difference. In this book, that's in the late 30s. And as she said, even when her and Milton got married, remember who she said they invited to their wedding? They didn't have a lot of people at their wedding. She didn't invite her family. He didn't invite his. It was just their friends that accepted their relationship. She even said the preacher was drunk when they married them, because they knew in that small community, everybody know everybody's business. They knew her best friend had stole her man. So in hindsight, it's 2020. They didn't announce it, but we announced everything. Everything is a big part, big explosion, and it's to prove something to somebody else. That's why I said our relationship is gonna be our own.
When I continue to read, I want to see that the friend asked her about her bike, because that was her only transportation. Did she ever ask about that bike?
They moved. They lost
I
the
got
house.
to get back. Who? Oh.
Katie and what was his name?
Both of them had to move.
Yep, they had to move. Both of them had to move. Katie moved in with him because he couldn't pay the rent. And I don't know why he couldn't pay his rent, because he worked. So that means he chose to stop paying.
She stole his
he had a
money.
job.
Yeah, but that was just money he was saving up. That was money he was just saving up. He was paying everything with the money that he was working with. He was just putting it up to the side.
Right. Right. He was saving money.
Any money
wasn't
you
just for his
save,
rent. She had already said where he gonna have to work to pay it. Well, she said he had bad credit anyway, so he didn't believe in paying certain deals, because she said, "When nobody gonna give him nothing."
Well, I think about her still had to mess him up though.
Yeah, it probably, because when he got behind in rent, he could have went in his little sock in the back of the drawer and got some money and paid the rent. But hey,
but what was his money he was making from work every week?
You can't keep it in the drawer. But then he was using half of Yvonne's money, paying.
He was. and saving
You know,
his.
everybody know money in your sock in your drawer or under the mattress. Come on now, we got to even, you know, back then we got to come up with something new way of hiding our money. Now we can't put it in the back of the drawer in the sock or under the mattress no more.
I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait to see how it's unfold. She was wrong, but I don't think he lost his place of residence because she stole his money. Because she even said when she stole it.
So
he
you
just had
saying
to
you say she
pay
was
his rent.
wrong she was wrong for taking the money. What if she was taking
Yeah,
half of it? What she was taking the money that she paid for the rent? Maybe she was taking that back.
No, she was taking that because that was her way of getting back at him. She taking that money, going through that drawer, she was getting her clothes and going through that drawer and saw that money. And she saw he had a lot of money saved up and he was taking her money. And that's what she did. But ladies, I got to go because I got some company here.
all right. Thank you so much for logging on.
Yeah, but as
I think
usual, I asked our viewers to keep viewing. This is my personal opinion only, and you know, feel free to chime in and state your opinion. And y'all have a nice week, a good week.
thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
We
I
said
think
thank
she
you.
was
You have a
wrong.
good week too.
I think she was wrong for stealing his money. If she had stolen for to get her money, she should have at least stole half because he was wrong for using her just for to pay the rent. He was wrong. Like I said, two wrongs don't make a right. If she was gonna steal it, she should have stole half. Let me get what I've been giving him back, and she should have left the other half. But I don't
Would it
know. I
be
don't know what to
equal
say
up to
by
the
Katie
amount
because
that
she
she
should have
had
came in.
paid? I know I'm wrong.
Well, I guess
Don't steal, y'all. Don't steal.
I don't know, but right.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure every woman that's listening is something they were not so proud of, but because they were hurt and a person did them wrong. So like I said, I'm not saying she was wrong because she shouldn't have stole it. And to me, if she felt like that she was owed some, she should have took half because he was very much wrong for sleeping with her best friend and then taking her money. And then when she found out about it, he was okay with it, saying, well, what about your rent next week if you tell me you leaving? I don't think he was worried about himself and their rent. So I get it why she stole it. I do get it. Or when he asked me about it, I wouldn't have told him a story. I would have told him, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been this about it. But I don't know.
I guess if she thought, maybe she thought if she denied that she took the money, he probably would have thought it was the other girl. I'm just trying to, you know.
Yeah, that's what she said that's what she said what the room was in town for, because everybody was already having bad break-ins. And then come to find out the man that she married, Milton, was the culprit with some break-ins. Well, no, he said he was breaking in on people in more predominant neighborhoods. So I don't think he was breaking in the local houses.
Which was wrong.
But yeah, it was very wrong. So that what makes me wonder what's really gonna happen later on when they do move since they already beside Joyce and Odell, was they really gonna find out about him?
Yeah,
It seems like she gonna have a change.
Seems like what now? What did you say?
What you say, Kim?
No, you said
It seems
like someone wasn't gonna change.
She had remorse. She seems like she's gonna change because she did have remorse for some of the things that she did. He didn't know. He didn't. And he was telling her she shouldn't feel bad about anything. So even though they were somewhat alike, it shows that she did have more compassion than he did.
Mm.
So it's like you got to wonder, is she really gonna change? Or is she just gonna settle because he's letting her know everything is okay? And she felt like that's the only man that has truly loved her and did things for her.
I think in the last series, we're gonna see something totally different. And she's gonna come to her senses and realize that maybe, when they first started, she and Milton, he was, was genuine, sincere about her, really concerned about her, doing the best he could to maybe, support the both of them. But then I think maybe in the last series, she's gonna realize that the things that he was doing wasn't beneficial to neither one of them. She's probably gonna find out a lot. He cheated. She's gonna find out a lot.
I think she only loved him because her self-esteem was low. Because she had already said, remember, with her kids, she had 3 kids, and every man she pretty much said just used her for sex or something like that. And he was the first man that offered her something without wanting something in return. And then she told him that he was like, "Nah, I want something in return. I want you." And he was just spinning with her because of how she looked. And then what he did love about her toward he was like, wow, she is pretty much just like me. She accepted him. And I think when we have low self-esteem, we accept a lot of things that we wouldn't normally accept. And it does put us in relationship. Relationship is bondage. Because notice every book that we have read, you find a woman or a man in a day in some type of bondage.
Relationships that we wouldn't have
normally. Because she said he wasn't her type. Milton was not her type. I don't know. I guess it's crazy. Well, you guys, since we have been having so many technical difficulties and we've been all over the place, that we do apologize, but we're going to go ahead and end this week's discussion. Please continue to log on and continue to like, share, and subscribe to our page. Also continue to elaborate on the discussions. We're going to have another discussion out there next week asking about, do you think low self-esteem plays a part in how we choose our significant others? So that's going to be our next question. Would anybody like any ending comments before we log off? Miss Donna, Kim?
No, I'm gonna always say love yourself. I'm just gonna always say love yourself. Don't depend on anyone or wait for anyone to tell you, that you're a good person, how good you look, all your qualities, the good qualities that you have. Speak those things over yourself. Realize that you are whatever you think that you are. You don't need anyone to boost your self-esteem to tell you those things. You just know who you are. And if you can't discover who you are, then send a message to the Table for Queens. We will help you become the better you.
Well, my tidbit on the relationship tip, as long as you're happy and it's a healthy relationship, be it y'all are the same or y'all as different as day and night. If you're happy, your partner is happy, and it's a healthy relationship, then do what you do despite of what outside forces may say, whatever the relationship look like.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, you heard the lady's perspective. And as she said, if you have any questions, please continue. Like I said, you can like, comment, and subscribe. You can instant message us. You can ask us questions. We will respond. And I wholeheartedly agree. You have to love yourself to know what to hold on to and what to let go. Self-love is the most powerful love that you can have. Thank you, guys. And you all have a great night. Thank you, ladies. We'll see you all next week.
Oh.